Buckingham Murders, a film that would have a lot of potential if it just had a better cast. Hello there, namaste. So, while coping with the loss of her child to murder, a grieving cop moves to another town where she investigates the disappearance of a missing child. Alright, that overview is completely wrong. She's not investigating a missing child, she's investigating a child murder. This film, I feel, would have been done in better hands. I love the emotional cord of having the lead actress having lost her child and then having be put on this case. The main issue is it actually takes away from the overarching story because the lead actress, she's an amazing actress. She can be believed in many scenes. I've never been a big fan of hers, but she's believable in her roles. The problem is the rest of the cast is all wooden. So when she acts, it comes across as overacting because everyone else is just stilted, saying their lines, somewhat emoting, but most of the time it just doesn't feel real. Everything feels forced. So personally, I feel if you're gonna have a cast that doesn't really know how to emote well, remove some of the really heart-tugging strings so that way she isn't a sympathetic, grieving mother. You just remove it where she's just a tough cop. She has a vicious streak and needed to transition to a different place. Maybe she had a case that wounded her, but not something that's making her lash out and seem unreasonable because nobody else on set can really act. One of the other issues is they keep talking about this cricket match that is having these people compete and fight with each other. Apparently it's supposed to be about the Muslim community and Sikh community, but it doesn't really serve any purpose to the overall story. It really doesn't. They just keep talking about it when it's really just two families arguing with each other. They have another situation with another officer who's on the case, which has a personal motive, who ends up really messing up the investigation entirely, and it's like that's all coincidental. A lot of it becomes very far-fetched because, first of all, I didn't believe anyone at all. Mainly because you have this lead actress who's doing an amazing job in acting if it was, well, a well-acted film. It's not a well-acted film. So she kept pulling me out of the reality of it because it comes across as overacting because everyone else is wooden. And then you have everyone else who's being wooden, who's doing weird things, and because you have the lead actress doing certain things and everyone else doing other things, it just doesn't come across as real. And that's the thing. It's a film. You're supposed to immerse yourself in it. You're supposed to see it as it's all unfolding before your eyes. And I literally felt like they're trying to do twists and turns and do different things, just literally doing whatever. Because the thing that's supposed to be like the culmination of everything, where she's the sympathetic mother who lost her child, who's trying to sympathize, like the whole thing is supposed to lead up to sympathizing with another woman who's lost her child at the very end, and you're just like, I don't care for this scene. She's too emotional in the scene. And I was surprised how many Indians were all over Britain. I mean, that's one thing. I was watching it with my wife and I'm just like, there are Indians everywhere there. Of course they were probably in that community, but it was just like, wow. Every few, there's like 20 in every shot. But the sad part is, I would love to recommend this movie. I would love to say it's a great film. It's just the acting holds it back. Both the overacting, which isn't overacting, it's just the real acting, and the wooden acting. They don't go well together, that it holds it back. It makes you realize the pointlessness of like the cop having his own emotional issue. It makes you realize the other issues with like the whole cricket match, which serves no real purpose to the story except they keep showing like newsreels. And let's be honest, if it was actually a cricket riot, people would be wearing the team's colors. Let's be honest. They were using like real footage of like real riots at certain points in times. They weren't using like, it just was unbelievable. It seemed very far-fetched to me. Yes, people do go crazy when it comes to sports. I will never understand it, but I know people do. It's just, they would talk about cricket and then you would see people dressed up in like all black rioting against the cops, and I'm like, nobody supports their teams dressed in all black. In the end, this film doesn't actually feel like a puzzle. It feels more like a game of Clue, where you basically throw everyone's pictures up on a board. They were in the writing room going like, okay, wherever this dart lands, that's gonna be the one who killed the kid. Let's do it. Oh, how are we gonna make that make sense? You know what? Let's add a puppet there. Let's add a puppet. In the end, that's how it felt like to me. I truly feel like this could have been an amazing movie in the hands of a better director, in the hands of a more decent location, because it just felt a little hodgepodgeous. It didn't feel like it fit in the setting. It really didn't. Especially when you have like a ton of Indians in one location and all of them are speaking Hindi. That's just a little too far-fetched. They all come from India. There's no way they came from one territory. You know, there would be people having arguments about speaking the proper language. English. In the end, I felt this film was way too slow, way too drawn out. I didn't care for the puzzle aspect because it didn't feel like a puzzle aspect. It just felt like one of those things where they're writing it as they go along, and it's like anyone could fit the mold, because if you think about it, the cops didn't even do their due diligence. Why? Well, they have an easy getaway for that. One of the officers was a corrupt officer. Well, technically, two of the officers were corrupt officers. It's a film that had the possibility of being great, felt a bit of a meh, and then turned into, I just don't understand what they were trying to go for in the end. I really don't. I watched it. I watched it. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.
You guys got a video? It was so bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, wait on that.